Well, good afternoon. Welcome, everybody, to Canadian Western Agribition. Well, if you were with us yesterday, we were blessed to see some of the 11 of the best teams and teamsters in Canada compete here at Canadian Western Agribition Chore Team Competition. We had 2 go-rounds of competition. We brought back the top 6 to run off for the Canadian Championship here. So whether you came from the grid road or the ring road, we're awful glad to see and share this tribute to these great horses and men to keep this great tradition alive. I think Winston Churchill said it best. He said, the earth would be nothing without man, but man would be nothing without the horse. So a big thanks goes out to Canadian Western Agribition and our longtime sponsor, Young's Equipment, for hosting this great event. Well, if you've never been to a Chore Team competition, you'll see down in the floor of the arena, there are 8 obstacles, and they're all have a point system and a time system. So entering the arena, you'll see the team come up to the arena, and that's a 5-point maneuver. They want to make sure that the horse is nice, calm, and steady. They'll head over to the sled, where there is a 500-pound weight, and they will pull that 14 feet. That is a 10-point maneuver. They'll head over to the keyhole, and they will swing to the exit. That is a 15-point maneuver. They will drive through the alley on a 5-point maneuver, do the figure 8 as a 5-point maneuver, and a 3-point turn as a 15-point maneuver. They will back into the feed dock and fan both ways. That is a 15-point maneuver. They will enter the keyhole and unlock the team and the keyhole for 20 points, and they have 20 points to complete the course as quickly as they can. So it's a combination of time and how much skill they have. And without further ado, I want to introduce our judges, Mr. Dale Anderson from Maple Creek, Saskatchewan, Mr. Dale Horn from Virden, Manitoba. Our clerks will be Olga Thompson and Nanette Craditchville. My name is Neil Cromartie, along with my good friend Kelly Bryce and Bill Ollie. We are going to kick things off. Boy, it's going to be a good one, Kelly.
It sure is. What a great comparison between heavy horse pulls and Chore Team demonstration, Chore Team competition, as a matter of fact. And this is Cody Ferguson to start us off with a good team of Bandit and Lex. Cody competed in his first Chore Team competition at about 10 years old. Bandit and Rex, around 6 years old, 6 and 7 as a matter of fact. Champion teams right here. Purebred, Perch and Gelding on the right.
Kelly, we're starting with the best of the best here this morning. Cody and his dad Scott train over 60 colts a year. Watch Cody work with his team. One of the most important things we can teach the team right now is to stand. So the first element they have to do after the sled is show us that their team will stand for 20 seconds. And the importance of that is if you're a Chore Team and working on the farm, you want them to stand while you load the bales, load the grain, unhook, walk to the barn, whatever it is. You want your horses to be there when you get back. The next element here in the keyhole I just wanted to keep the noise down while Cody was hooking inside that keyhole. a very vulnerable spot where the horses he's asking him to stand. He's got noise on the inside of the ring, he's got noise on the outside of the ring, and the team can't hear what Cody's asking him to do. But Cody had to get hitched to that wagon without stepping on the line. And the wagon was on purpose parked in a very, very tight spot. So he had very little room to maneuver his horses around. He had Bandit there on the left, right tight to the chalk line. So Bandit couldn't basically move. He had to wiggle around and get left in position to get hooked to the neck yoke. So that was a tough spot, and that's why it went quiet there. Now we asked them to show how accurate they're driving as they drove through this rails. Those rails, we tightened them up from yesterday. They had 6 inches to start yesterday. Now they're down to less than 4 inches space that they have to drive through the rails. Now we said, come over here and do a figure 8. Show us how nicely you can do a figure 8 and how accurate around these cones. And that chalk line there is one time, it's a good thing to hit the chalk line. We're saying if you can get your tires on the chalk line, you're doing a good job. But look at the drivers we have here today. Cody's inside the chalk line. That's a 3-foot diameter hole. And he's putting his team inside the line. So he's saying, I can drive that figure 8 no problem. I can put them right tight to that hole without touching it. Now we've got to get over and pick up the mail. So you got to go to the mailbox. And Cody's moving fast. One of the elements of this whole competition is speed. The faster you can do it, the more points you get. So he won't be wasting any time. He wouldn't remember, but in the old days you put the mail in the mailbox, and then you had to put the flag up. That tells the postman when he comes by, I got mail in the mailbox. Well, that's a tight spot. Now he's got to back up 15 feet.
Are you the one recording?
How much money did you have?
He has to back up 15 feet away from that mailbox in order to get out that 3-point turn. Again, he can't cross the chalk line. So you have to watch Lex and Bandit avoiding that chalk line.
Wait, are you the one
Coming out
recording
of that
this?
hole. Now he's got to immediately come back hard on the G line to get lined up for the docking. In the old days when you haul your cream to town, you'd haul it into the railway station and drop it off. The railway station, you had to back the wagon in to get it tight to the dock so they could use the wheeler, the wheel goods like lumber, coal, your flour, your sugar, put it on the wagon. But it's important that that wagon comes back in right flat flush to that dock. Because the wheeler can't wheel over the open space. So Cody's got to back his team right in tight, get him flush, and then we'll ask him to fan. And the reason for that was, in the old days, he'd be blocking the road right now. So it'd say, Cody, fan the horses to the left, 90 degrees. And that'll let people go down the street while you're unloading or loading. Well, but then if somebody wants to use the dock right beside you, so fan back the other way, all the way to the right. But leave that wagon tight to the dock, because we want to keep loading your goods. Okay, now he's that way. You know, somebody wants to back in on your right hand side, can you just stand him straight out, square to the dock? And once you get square to the dock, then you unload your cream can. So once he's square to the dock, you'll ask Casey, put the cream, full cream on the dock, and put her empty can back in the wagon to take home and refill for the next week. So this is an excellent example when you see how fast and strong Cody is with his team. They look so good together. Cody and his dad will train 60 horses a winter. to drive. So he's very, very good with them. A perching cross, team of horses. Now that he's in the keyhole and park, Casey can get off. Cody around with his horses. But he still has to get out of the keyhole. His time is soft when he drops his pole to the ground, but he has to get his team out of the keyhole without stepping on the chalk line. So watch, he's got to set down the pole. Now there's his timing stop. Now he's got to get his team round in that keyhole and out behind the wagon without stepping on the chalk line. See how well they listen. Lex and Bandit are just wonderful horses. Now you can thank Cody for coming all the way from Manitoba.
You betcha. Minnedosa, Manitoba, Cody Ferguson with Bandit and Lex. Nice showing right there. Nice team. Nice team.
That's a beautiful team.
Sure is, Bill. Sure is.
Don't forget to visit many of our exhibitors located throughout the grounds. Exhibition is food, shopping, and fun. We've got over 500 exhibitors this year. Also, our Maple Leaf Finals rodeo will be kicking off on Wednesday. Great thing about Wednesday night, it is free admission. Now, we want you to stay with us tonight. Pick yourself up a ticket at the box office for the 3-foot trial bullfighting and the bull jumping. We've got 7 bull jumpers from Spain with us. This is a new event, not only to Canada, but to Canadian Western Agribition. So if you're in for a little bit of fun and something you may not have an opportunity to ever see again, make sure you pick up some tickets for the freestyle bullfighting, and that's going to happen tonight. The gates will open at 6. Performance will start at 7.
All righty. About ready for our next team. Remember, this is all sudden death finals. Goes on the points of what each and every one of these events that you have to do out there with the team. And the less time you take, the more points you'll win. It is a great competition. But you can sure see the difference between the heavy horse pulls and the light horse pulls we watched this morning. And just the way they maneuver these teams. These guys are some great, great teamsters, as a matter of fact.
Well, Kelly, we're going to stay in Manitoba here with Jim Lane coming in with one of the nicest teams you'll see ever.
Yes, he is the master there. He drives 6 horse hitches, 4 horse hitches. Jim Lane of Lone Oak Purchase from Bertle, Manitoba, and he brought us a good one here. Dusty and Andy, 8 and 9-year-olds right here. Let's take a look at Jim Lane and see what he can do.
If this isn't the fastest team of purchase you'll see in the country, I don't know where you'll find them. Jim uses these on a 6 horse hitch, and you can see why. He brings them to town, they look beautiful. He said he's just about done showing horses. Now he's probably started competing in the Chore Team Competition. And he brings his talent of decorating and cleaning up his horses for the Chore Team Competition. The harness is showing up. You can tell it's a biothane harness. It's synthetic, it's not leather. So easy to clean, easy to wipe the dust. It's chrome, so it doesn't require as much polishing. You just wipe it clean. His horses are all showing up, polished and brushed. Watch how smooth Jim is with these. Watch the horses talking with their ears. Dusty's on the left, Andy's on the right. See a look around. The minute Jim makes a word or a noise, watch their ears talk to him. Tell them, I'm listening, I'm ready for your next command. Beautiful little horses, but they're fully committed to Jim's words. Look at him stand there without making a move. Now watch the ears, listen to him. Now they're looking for those chalk lines. See the ears go forward looking for the chalk lines. Then they'll come back and hear Jim say, whoa. We asked them to stand for 20 seconds to prove to us that they would be a useful chore team, that they can't stand and wait for it to load bales or grain. They're not going to be much of a chore team, so that's why we added the element in. And again, see the chalk line, how tight it is there? How you can get dusty in there and stand so close to that chalk line. This is one of the biggest teams you'll see in this championship round of this competition. There's very little room. The judges on purpose parked that flag in there.
Also across the highway. Crossing the highway. There's a little stretch. Busy highway. I'm trying to put 150 south on the highway. Hope everybody. They do not. They want to cross the highway as quick as you can. Have them all run out for a half mile. Then you got to convince the lead guy that he doesn't want to try.
And once Jim's on the wagon and the horses are hitched, he can ask Michelle, his assistant, to get on the back. Now he's got to get the team and wagon out of that keyhole without touching the chalk line. Watch this team show off. Is that not the fanciest pair of Persians you've seen for a long time? Look at the ears and neck, the presence. He knows he's got to come wide against the rails here to get around. These rails allow him just 2 inches on either side to get that wagon through. You'll see there's a bend in it. Not only does it just have to clear it, he has to go through and then miss that bend in there. Again, we've got the top 6 Chore Team teamsters here in the competition, so you expect them all to be able to drive through there. Speed is going to be one of the critical factors with this competition now because it's all so good, they just don't make mistakes. Watch these Persians show off. Watch them prance and their ears work, their head set. They're just so fast and alert. You don't necessarily need that for a chore horse, but Jim's horses do both. They look good and they work too. The judges will be looking for is little aids. Like sometimes you'll see them put a strap between the horses. You'll notice Jim has a little strap between their rump. The judges will look at that and say that's a little bit of an aid there, Jim, so we're going to deduct you a couple points as a driving aid. Doesn't hurt anything, but it's just a little aid that Jim's using. Now this little gray wagon is specifically made for exhibition. It's very short coupled. Now you've got to get that wagon out of that hole. And your Dusty standing on a chalk line. A tough job to do that. Now, you want to see an expert dock a team in the wagon? Jim does this with 6 horses, so when he does it for the team, he'll make it look pretty easy. Now he's got it back again, try to get it flush. bet you a nickel he does. Now he'll ask him to stand to the left. So Dusty and Andy get over. Now he'll ask him to come all the way back around to the right hand side. Notice that wagon stays up right against the dog. That's very important that they stay up against the dog. Now Michelle has swapped the crew dance. Now Jim just has to get him back into the keyhole. Those times if you can get this competition, if you can get through the course in 12 minutes, you've done well. Jim isn't even at 8 minutes yet. He's just got unhooked. So watch him try to get his horses into that keyhole out of the way so that he can drive around the backside of the wagon and get it back in. Less than 9 minutes. That's 3 minutes faster than a lot of teams were in here over the course of the last 2 days. Now he's got to get Dusty and Andy out of that keyhole without stepping on the chalk line and sneaking around that wagon. Very tight corners.
There he is, Lone Oak Perchins, Fertile, Manitoba, Jimmy Lane on the lines, the Masters teamster. What a great run.
You did well, Jim.
Oh, good.
Congratulations. Thanks.
Thank you. All right. Of course, that's Jimmy Lane's first time ever competing in a Chore Team competition. And he came back here in the top 6, and he's sitting really good as well right now. Good job on you, Jim.
Young's Equipment is proud to be the presenting sponsor of the Chore Team Competition. Young's Equipment leading the way in thriving agriculture community. And I understand Mr. Tim Young will be with us later on this afternoon to present the awards to our champions.
There's your leader and your points for right now. We have 180 points for Cody Ferguson. We'll get it tallied up here in a moment. Got that leaderboard going on there. We'll have Jim Lane's points coming up here as soon as we get them all tallied. Right now we're going to welcome in Chris Bertram, Climax, Saskatchewan. Been competing in the Chore Team competition for 14 years. The rancher and his helper is Marty Bertram. He's got Belle and Kelly. And Belle's a 17-year-old Perchin mare. Kelly is only a 4-year-old Perchin stud. Started that young one in January of this year, and here he is competing Canadian Western Agribition Chore Team competition. Once again, special thank you to Young's Equipment, Case IH dealer, 9 locations to serve you better. 9 locations right across Saskatchewan. Once again, our judges here are Dale Anderson from Swift Current, Daryl Horn from Verdon, Manitoba.
Let's go to Climax, Saskatchewan with Chris Burton. Chris has been competing in the Chore Team competition for around 14 years. He's a rancher. His helper is his son, Marty. And he has brought to town Belle, who is a 17-year-old Percheon mare. Kelly is a 4-year-old Percheon mare stud. Chris started Kelly and around January of this year. And Belle and Kelly have been together for the last year and performed exceptionally well. This young stud handled the pressure coming to the big bright lights of Canadian Western Agribition very, very well. Chris placed in around 3rd spot to be able to get into the final. So here is Chris Bertrand and Belle and Kelly.
Well, this is an impressive team. By team, I mean team of 3. Chris Bertram's been with us since day one of the inception of the Chore Team competition. When we wanted an expert to consult to help coach us through setting up a Chore Team competition, we asked Chris. Chris farms with the team every day all winter. He feeds all his cows with the team. He usually uses a team of mares. He had the 2 mares and he bought a stallion, and you might guess what happened. One of the mares is in foal, and Belle here is not. So Chris said, well, if you're in full, you stay home and work, and I'm going to break this 4-year-old stallion, and he's going to be my team. So this is the first time he's come to town with the 4-year-old stallion. He's on the right-hand side, and watch Kelly work. Kelly acts like he's been here forever, but in fact he's fed cows this winter the first time. He's a 4-year-old Percheon stallion, and he's a daddy now. And Chris is hoping next year he's a daddy of another couple. Chris is a rancher. He doesn't do this for fun. He does it because it's his job. And you watch Kelly and Belle, that's how they put their mind to it too. This is a job they have to do. They have to feed cows every day. They don't have to look good. They don't have to show off. They have to pull that sleigh around. They have to haul bales. So that's their focus. And you watch when he asks them to stop and stand, they're more than happy to. Otherwise, they know that they're hauling a sleigh. We asked him to stop for 20 seconds. Kelly and Belle would stand here for 20 minutes. Chris's helper is his son Marty. 9 years ago when we started this, Marty had his own team in here. The trouble with Marty was he was so young he wasn't strong enough to lift the pole. So we gave him an exemption to have Chris come in and lift the pole to hook up the net yoke for him. As you can see now, Marty's got a few groceries into him and he can lift the pole on his own, but now one of his team has gone lame on it and he can't use it, so he's just helping his dad. The media was all over Marty 9 years ago when he came to town. They've never seen somebody competing like this so young with such a good team of chore horses. He didn't think it was any big deal because he had to do chores every day. And watch Kelly and Belle come around the corner, just like they have to do it every day. I don't know if you can hear Chris talking to the team. He's saying come on, now he's asking come G around. He's plucking to him, get him to speed up a little bit. Now he'll ask him to come on to get straightened up to these rails. I'll keep quiet, you can listen to Chris talk to the team. Like I said, the rails is only 2 inches in there. Unfortunately, Chris was 2 1/4 inches and bumped to 1. Now remember Jim Lane a little earlier with his fancy Perkins team. These are Perkins too, but these are 2 chore horses. They don't have to look good to do their job. They just got to work. So you see Kelly just putting his head down and working. Chris will put the tire inside that chalk mark, no problem. But Kelly and Bell are just doing their job. Now he's got to get straightened up and come up this chalk line. Pretend he's going to put a letter in the mailbox. He'll put a letter in the mailbox, but he has to back up 15 feet to get out of that exit. That wagon is 10 feet long, but the reach on it is only 6 feet. So it backs and takes off on you very quickly. If you're not perfectly straight, it'll take off and turn. See how well he came back from that wagon perfectly between the lines. The problem was Kelly didn't know he had to stay inside the lines. So big clumsy Kelly just stepped outside the lines and said he couldn't. Wagon was fine. Kelly's just not as nimble as some of these other younger horses. His first time to town, he didn't know that that's what he's supposed to do. And he'll learn, he'll get better at these competitions because Chris will make him get better. Now, first time in town or not, you watch Chris back this wagon. He has to back the slaves into this bale stack every day. Watch Bell and Kelly's ears, listen to Chris talking. Look at that, absolutely perfect. Got to take that whole 90 degrees. I should have the microphone up beside Chris and saying, get over G, Kelly. Kelly, get over G. Looking him across his legs, one over top of the other, coming around to get it around 90 degrees. There, Chris said you weren't quite 90 degrees, so let's go 90 degrees. Now come back straight. And Marty's going to switch shoe hands. The full cream is dropping off. The empty can is on the wagon. Now Chris can put the team away. They're probably thinking that's good. That's been a good day. So if I have to go home tomorrow, I'm going to be hauling sleigh, hauling bales. Chris is asking Marty to fall far enough in there to get the team by. I have no doubt Chris will get that team through there. Now he knows he's up against the time. Chris's old team, Bell and Jess, were historically the fastest team here. I remember Chris doing it in 8 minutes one year. He's just a little bit slower now with Kelly. Takes a little more calculated time, a little more talking. I won't say that Chris is getting any older because he's the same age as me. But We all slow down a little bit. Look at how well these two work. You think Kelly was doing it a long time. There's an excellent teamster right there.
All righty, Chris Burkham, Climax, Saskatchewan, Bell and Kelly. 17-year-old mare and a 4-year-old son.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you.
We could have sat up there, but too late now.
Stars Online Charity Auction presented by Ritchie Brothers Auctioneers. Stars Charity Auction has been moved online and will be open for bidding until Saturday, November 25th at noon. Make sure you check out all the great items that Ritchie Brothers have provided on their website. They waived all the fees, and we can't thank them enough for supporting Stars Air Ambulance.
Sorry, thank you.
Well, we certainly want to thank you all for stopping by and stopping in. You've been an absolutely fabulous crowd. I think you should give yourselves a great big round of applause just for being good people. Thank you.
Next one up, we got Ben and Bell. Both 4 years old. This is Greg Melankowski from Outlook, Saskatchewan. He'll be our next contributor here. He'll be number 4, so we'll have 2 more after him. Remember, we had 2 go-arounds of this same pattern yesterday in the Chore Team Championship. Greg Malakowski, he was 190 on his first round and 193 on his second round. Jim Lane has moved to the lead here with 202 points, followed by Cody Ferguson as you look up to the screen. That's how it's sitting right now. If you want to win the championship, you've got to get more than 202 points. If there's a tie, it'll go on time. Here we go, Greg Malinowski, Ben and Bell.
Kelly, this team pulls at the heartstrings. Greg brought this team out of the, I'll say out of the bush. They hadn't seen people, hadn't been out in public. And Greg does a lot of work with people in his day job, but he said he had to do a lot of work with horses with these two to get their minds around what he was asking them to do. They're 4 years old, and he's been competing with them here for 3 years. Watch the communication between these two horses and Greg. Watch the trust they have in him for being totally scared coming out of the trees and seeing people for the first time 4 years ago, 2 years ago, and now trusting what Greg can do with them. I like watching the horses talk to him. This whole time the horses are talking to him. Horses are talking for years with their body language. You see Ben on the right, he's standing there resting a leg. He's saying, Greg, whatever you want, I'm just here, you tell me when. So now watch his ears. Greg has him step in there. Your ears too bad. Now they got to set down and pull a load. They'll say, Greg, we only weigh 1,000 pounds. How come we got to pull that 1,200-pound load? But that's the job they have to do, so they're glad to do it. And when he's done, he looks his lines up and they relax and stand and wait for him. Tremendous amount of trust in this team. Just a pleasure to watch. Greg uses brass solid harness and brass balls. don't know who he's trying to punish, but when you bring brass harness out, that means the polish bags come out. They take polishing every day if you want to keep them shining. Otherwise, they're tarnished and green. Greg's got to go over and ask the team to stand for 20 seconds. We got the timer there. As soon as they're in the box, standing quiet, then the timer will start. The team is no good to us. Won't stand still for 20 seconds. See the ears and body language. They're completely relaxed and trusting, waiting for that to come down. You wouldn't know it was the same team that was here 3 years ago, first time over. Look at them step over the pole and dive in place. Greg just reaches up to the breach in there and says, come on, get your butt over here in place. And he says, okay, I'll do that for you. And he stands there and waits. Matter of fact, they say that corn flour tastes better than the oats you give us at the farm, so maybe I'll nibble away on some of that corn flour. I don't think the judges will dock them points for eating the corn flour. They'll be docking points if they step on a line. I don't know if they can dock them points if the line is drawn because they've eaten it. Look at how Ben and Bell sing around and saw it up in there. No problem. Craig asked his daughter to jump up there with him and be his assistant. And watch Ben and Bell come around this tight corner. They're so nimble and quick. That pole is not going to touch Ben. Sorry, Bell's on the right. Watch Bell bounce out of the way. She won't let that pole touch the top. Isn't that a beautiful little Chore team? They don't need to be big and powerful to be Chore horses. That tight little alley is no problem for them coming through there. Now this is the kind of elements that Ben and Bell will shine on. The Aussies come around with figure eight. And Ray will say, I can do that. But I'll do it at a trot. Ben and Bell can trot around these tight little circles. Some of the big horses would have trouble doing that. They look so good in their brass slotted harness. Look at that tire sitting inside the circle. Does a beautiful job driving that figure eight. Ben and Bell will keep that steady pace. Nice and even. Now this is where these little bit smaller, nimble horses can maneuver this pole. Again, they got to put the mail in the mailbox. Put the flag up. Greg says, I can't reach that flag. He's short on one end. I mentioned that before. Now he's got the wagon in there, really nice slot to back on. Ben and Bell have room to wiggle the pole a little bit and keep that wagon straight. I think Greg was one of the only teams yesterday that made it through this without touching the chalk line. Watch his back left tire. It's got to come out around that corner. Now he's got a swing thing, Ben and Bell. Watch, looks like they know they can't step on that. Today he got a little chop on his back tire. He won't be happy with that, and the judges are noticing that. But that's why it's a competition. Again, these top 16 players are so good. None of these elements are very difficult for them. The judges are splitting hairs, trying to decide which teamster is going to be the champion. Every element here is a certain level of difficulty, and the score on each element is based on the level of difficulty. Something like backing this wagon into the dock and fanning it both ways is one of the toughest things you have to do. So it will score some of the highest points. And these teamsters don't see this wagon until they get to that elevation. There it is. Is that a nice job or what? Now he's got to bring him around the square. Now he starts the standing process. He could be unloading all his goods right now at the rail station, but he's walking the street. So you've got to swing your horses out of the way without that wagon moving. Look at that wagon sitting there, and they can still be loading and unloading their goods. But now if somebody wants to use the dock beside him, they'll say, Greg, just swing your team around to the other side so that we can use the left-hand dock. So Ben and Bell swing all the way around. The wagon stays there. So his daughter can keep loading and unloading the goods. Look at how nice and smooth that is. The wagon's still sitting at the dock. The judges will be noticing that, how much that wagon's moved. You look at that wagon, still sitting there tight. That's about as nice a job as you'll see a dog in the wagon and holding it there while you land. Now Greg's got to put the team back in the keyhole where he got it. Again, not touching the chalk line. The pole is 10 feet long. The wagon is 8 feet long. That keyhole is 18 feet. So that gives you an idea how tight it is. He has no room for air. He has to stop and unhook and get his team out around behind it. Opening at the back end is 10 feet. The wagon is 5 feet wide. So if it's marked perfectly, he might have 5 feet to work with. You watch Greg's time. He's under 11 minutes. And at 12 minutes, he loses all points to this time. I watch him ask the horses to step up to him. He didn't even touch him. There's his time, 11 minutes. Isn't that impressive how he just stood there and said, Bell and Ben, step up. Now just a minute until he gets them back out of the keyhole. He's not done yet. He was showing how well his team is training. I bet you when they come out of the keyhole, he hands the line over. You can tell him how much he appreciates his abilities right now. He's done.
Greg Melankowski, Outlook Saskatchewan, Ben and Bell, nice team of Perchin quarter horse crosses right there. Good showing, good showing.
Greg, it doesn't get much better than that.
Oh, that was awesome. Dad's hanging out with the team. Very proud of him. It's really great.
I'm pretty proud of watching your daughter drive out.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, he's learning the ropes, I guess. So.
Thanks very much, Greg. Thanks for coming. Congratulations.
All right. Greg Melankowski. Now we look up to the leaderboard there. We got Jim Lane with 202 points. Chris Bertram with 187 points. Cody Ferguson with 180 points. And for Greg, we'll get it tallied up and tell you what it is, and we'll put it up on the board as well. Keeping track, who's doing what. What a great, great showing.
We hope you can join us for the Maple Leaf Finals Rodeo. We've got 4 big nights of rodeo happening, starting and kicking things off Wednesday night, which is free admission if you'd like to come along. The Maple Leaf Finals are in partnership with the Canadian Pro Rodeo Association. We've got the top 10 contestants in Canada competing in all of the 8 major events of rodeo. We're competing for over $100,000 in prize money. Now, the winner of the Maple Leaf Finals is going to head down to Peaks Pikes, Colorado for the National Finals Rodeo. We put over 23,000 fans here under the big top right here in Regina, so 4 days of action. The doors are going to open at 6 o'clock. Performance will start at 7. So we hope to see you at the Maple Leaf Finals Rodeo.
All right, we're going to go with the crowd favorite right now. This is Keith Newmeyer and his good team of Gravel and Surprise. And the whole story here is he purchased Gravel out of a horse sale, and then come spring, all of a sudden here comes a nice little filly colt that they named Surprise. And I'll tell you what, the mare is 31 years old, and that colt right beside her is 17 years old. So you got about 48 years of experience right here pulling this team. This is one of the crowd favorites. Team number 5 in, Keith Newmeyer, Gravel, and Surprise.
Kelly, this is just a fun story. The whole story on Keith and his horses. He said, I want to train the horses, I want to work with them, I want to do it my way. I don't need to say G and law, because when you do the research, some countries G is right, some countries G is left. Why don't I use left and right? So if you listen to Keith out here, he talks to his horses and asks them to go left and go right. That's pretty common sense, isn't it? And then when he asks them to walk, or do you cluck, or do you smack your lips, or what do you do? No, he said, I just asked him to walk. So just listen to him here now. He just asked him to walk, so they walked ahead. Now based on that, can you tell which one is 31 and which one is 17? Now you can guess, but the 31-year-old is on the left-hand side, but she doesn't act like it. Here he asked him to walk away, and he said, right, right. So they turned right and walked away. Now I'm standing here. 20 seconds on the clock.
Bob, where are you going?
Asking
What?
the whole size to stand for 20 seconds. Seems like a long time when you're standing up there in the ring holding the lines. This wagon's positioned nice for Keith because he put 31 years of experience on that left-hand side. And Gravel just stepped over that pole and stood there like nothing.
No, she came back.
Being a Chore team, size isn't necessarily an advantage. It may be if you're pulling big weights, but a Chore horse doesn't often pull real big weights. He says gravel and surprise have never been a part of a day in their life. Now this is the mouse in the pin right. Can you guess who's 31 when they prance along like that, eh? And gravel just likes to put on a show. Keith drives teams and breaks teams all the time. If you happen to be looking for a team, you call Keith. He came through that rails, no problem at all. Again, each one of these elements has a certain level of difficulty, and based on the level of difficulty, it has points allowed to it. So every time he competes the keyhole or these rails, or the figure eight around pylons, he's gaining points. Total points possible on the round is 110 times 2 judges each score. Here Keith asks him to turn right. We first built the course, he said it'd be good, the closer you get to the pylon, the better it is. Then they put a 3-foot circle around it so that you can touch the chalk line, that would be good. Now the teacher is driving inside the chalk line. This wagon in here. Real tight corners. It's surprise, gravel, got it in. Surprise and gravel made it, but you see just a little touch of chalk on that back wheel. Just so tough to get in there. And the judges are both conferring. Do you see that chalk mark there? Did you see that one? Yeah, they're watching close. They have to watch so close in this championship round. The slightest little mistake has to be recorded because they're just, as you can see in the scoreboard, there's very little points between them. They're just so good. Look how easy Keith is on the line. Is that perfect or what? Now listen to Keith talk about. I hope you folks can hear him. I should have had a microphone on. They listen so well to Keith.
Okay, thank you.
The wagon is still sitting docked up tight to the fence. Amanda Van Kerkhoff is his helper. She usually would be competing, but her one horse got caught in some wire and hurt her leg. So Amanda said she needs time to heal before I come back next year. She'll probably see Amanda in this competition next year. In the meantime, she's helping Keith. It's nice to have an extra teamster like that riding along as your helper. Now comes against the clock now. He knows the faster he is, the better he is. Every 30 seconds, there's 2 points comes off. So you can see if he can beat 9 minutes and 30 seconds, he'll keep those 2 points. There he is. That's just a sign of a good teamster. Now he's got to ask Surprise to come around the corner hard and get up against the wagon. Isn't that quite a team?
You betcha. Keith Newmark, Langenberg, Gravel, and Surprise. One of my favorites and one of the crowd favorites here as well.
Keith, that's so impressive to watch and listen to you.
Thank you. A lot of work.
Very impressive. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
We'll have a score for that team here coming up as soon as we get everything. The judges' cards all added up. Come down to our final one in the Chore Team competition. The final team in is going to be Scott Ferguson.
Get your eye on the Agribition Express. The Agribition Express is a shuttle bus program providing you a ride to and from your vehicle parked at either the Northgate Mall, the Southland Mall, or Victoria Square to the Agribition grounds for free. The Agribition Express will run between 10 a.m. and 7:30, as well as after the bullfights and the rodeo events Wednesday through Saturday. Proudly sponsored by SGI. Reminder from our friends at SGI to go out and have a good time. Just make sure those good times can happen again by always finding a safe ride home.
Scott Ferguson, the Ferguson Ranch Horses, Minnedosa, Manitoba. This is Rex and Ace. They are the American Saddlebred and Percheron Cross. And boy, this is one of my favorite teams here.
Scott was the winner of the past 2 rounds. Scott with his helper here, Cody, father and son, last winter trained 60 colts to drive and ride. Scott doesn't get the easy ones. It's horses that are 4 or 5, 6 years old, 8 years old, and they've been problems or couldn't get them going. So they say we give up, we're sending them to Scott and Cody. Scott and Cody take these horses. They drive in the hills over there west of Minnedosa. And he's got some names of certain hills, so I can't say on the microphone. But those hills make a horse out of the horses. He uses the hills and the snow and the trees to his advantage, whether it's hauling hay, straw, hauling lumber. Scott and his neighbor Jim Lane will have hay rides or sleigh rides in the wintertime, where they'll put the word out there, and there'll be up to 60 sleighs, 300 passengers will converge on a Sunday and go 6 miles back up into the hills and have a bonfire in the Birdtail Hills. This little team of saddlebred crosses. The horse on the right will train a lot of colts. Not your biggest horse, but he's the anchor for Scott's training system. And again, watch the teammanship, the horses and the driver. Watch his ears, they tell him what they're saying. Not only is Scott good, he's fast. Watch his hands move. It's a pleasure to watch him go here. If you got horses to train in Western Canada, there's a good chance you could send them to Scott and Cody, and they'll end up just like this pair. There's no fuss or muss, they just do their job, and you watch how quickly they'll do it. Scott doesn't waste any time. I remember watching Scott show horses at Agribition 40 years ago. He was helping other guys with their hitches, their show hitches. Scott would jump up and drive him, even as a young teenager. The one show in Swan River, Manitoba, everybody finished showing their six. They're sitting around and says, anybody ever driven an 8? Oh yeah, lots of guys driven an 8 horse hitch. Anybody ever driven 10? No, nobody's driven 10. Well, should we hook it? I said, okay. Who's going to drive it? Well, Scott will have to drive it. He's only 16 years old. He could drive it. So they hooked 10 horses together, and Scott took off and drove the 10 horses around the arena. That's the kind of teamster we have up here in front of us today, and that's why he won the last 2 rounds. Scott said, we're just a little close to that final, and we don't want to touch it. 1 point could make the difference, but I want to keep my wheel inside that chalk mark. All the way around, that wheel was inside the chalk mark. Rex and Ace are saddlebred Percheron cross horses. And Scott didn't get them as a rope team, you know that. They came as a tough pair. They started working together and have been working together for the last 5 years. Nobody's made this corner yet today. There's the first time around. That's why he's as good as he is. Now, Doc in the wagon. Scott's cousin drove the Budweiser hitch for 25 years, and he would dock the 8-horse hitch Budweiser horses. Think Scott didn't watch and learn some of that? How's that? Rex and Ace spin that around like nothing. Now Scott's son Cody's going to flip the milk to the cream cans. He's got to take a quick look up there at the clock, but unfortunately their time is not on the clock this time. But I'm guessing he's not quite 8 minutes yet. Scott was our fastest suited course yesterday, both trips. And I'm thinking he'll be full points for speed today. Watch his hands go. Now see speed and purpose. Can't pitch and drive 60 horses a winter if you're not good at it. There's the hold down. Now he's got to get him around without stepping on the line. How's that?
Beautiful.
Been a champion up till today. We'll see what happens today. Congratulations, Scott. Thank you. Thank you. Wonderful run.
Scott Ferguson, Minnedosa, Manitoba. Now we got to do some tallying up, see how we make out.
So, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tim Young from Young's Equipment, and we're really pleased that we've been affiliated with the Chore Team Competition. I'd actually like to take a moment and acknowledge all the volunteers that are needed to make a competition like this go. So, if you could please, warm round of applause for all the volunteers and people here. And I'm sure that most of the people here know that we have a couple of people here that have really been heavily involved in this. And I want to start off by just an acknowledgement from Young's Equipment to Ron Henry, wherever he is. Where did Ron go? Who's been with Young's for many, many, many years and has been a big part of this. But I'm not sure if most of you know that this event was the brainchild of bringing Chore Team competitions to Agrivision, and that was the brainchild of our color commentator, Bill Ollie, and Ernie Boone, who I've known Ernie for forever, and two of the nicest people you'd ever want to see. And I really think we should give them a round of applause for bringing this great event to Agrivision. My man Ron Henry, right here in the skid steer loader, and doing what he does best and is always working. Thanks, Ron.
Hey, and we have ribbons right up to the championship banners, and of course we'll start at the bottom as we get them all settled down here, and once we get it up on the big screen, we can show you how it all plays out. All righty. Sixth place, Cody Ferguson with Babbitt and Lex, finished up with 180 points in sixth place. Give him a big, big round of applause. We have a ribbon for him for sixth place. Boy, what a great bunch of teams here.
And if you could, gentlemen, please bring your teams forward for a ribbon presentation and a photograph.
Cody Ferguson, Babbitt, and Lex. Sixth place. Give him a big, big round of applause, would you? 180 points. 180 points.
Let's go to Greg Malonkowski with his beautiful team of Ben and Bell. They're going to be the pride and joy of Outlook, Saskatchewan, for picking up a 5th place finish here at Canadian Western Agribition. This was just a wonderful team that Greg did a great job with, and he can proudly hang that banner in his barn as being one of the very best teamsters in Canada. Thanks for coming along, Craig.
In 4th place, we're going to go with Chris Bertram with Kelly and Bell, 187 points. Boy, they did a wonderful job. Chris Bertram. Mare and a stud right there. 17-year-old mare, a 4-year-old stud.
In the storyline, we've been pinching ourselves for 2 days. Keith Newmeyer and Gravel and Surprise, the 30-year-old and the 15-year-old mother-daughter team with a very special connection. They worked as one, and 198 points is going to take home. But what a year he's had. He won the Chore Team in Yorkton and Dallas Valley, and probably his very best performance here at Canadian Western Agribition. So congratulations to you, Keith.
And of course, here we go with Jim Lane, Dusty, and Annie. This is the first Chore Team competition he ever entered, Jim Lane. Now, he is a master of the 6 and the 8 horse hitch. 202 points all the way from Fertile, Manitoba, Lone Oak Perchins right here.
And your winner of the 2023 Young's Chore Team Competition, Scott Ferguson and Rex and Ace, along with his helper, Cody. What a great job he did of his beautiful team. Rex is a 15-year-old, and Ace is a 14-year-old. They're full brothers, and boy, they came to town to win right from the first get-go. Congratulations. And won twice yesterday, and presenting this beautiful banner and ribbon and belt buckles will be Mr. Tim Young.
Boy, this is a beautiful team. American Saddlebred, Perchin crosses. They'd look good pulling anything, as a matter of fact. 219 points is where he finished it up. Just a great showing here for Scott Ferguson. Rex and Ace.
Well, friends and neighbors, thank you ever so much for riding along with us. Great time to stand up, stretch, say hi to some of your neighbors and friends that maybe you haven't seen for a while. Let us clean up our arena. We're going to get right back into the horse pulls. We're going to go on with the middleweight and the lightweight. Till then, give us about 20 minutes to get things rolling.